Welcome to my channel. My name is Zoe. I make motherhood and lifestyle videos. Today's video I'm going to be talking all about the Sabbath, why we started it and how we prepare for it and how we even practice it with small children. So basically my husband and I have been talking about the Sabbath for probably a year now. We discussed it last year and we were just sort of talking about how we as Christians don't really participate in Sabbath as much as we probably should. We didn't really know much about it. We, would have like our rest day, I guess, on Saturday, and then we'd have our worship day on Sunday. But a lot of the time we would fill up our weekends. They would be very busy. And come Sunday, which is the typical Sabbath day for a Christian, we see that as the day of like rest and worship. We would still be non-stop. We would be so busy. We'd often wake up really early with an alarm, get ready, go to church, and we would both be volunteering all the time, which you might not see that as work, but it is unpaid work. So it is a form of work. And then we'd come home and we would prepare for the week. We'd do cooking and prepare lunches and cleaning and laundry and all sorts of stuff. So we wouldn't really get our proper rest. It wasn't really a proper Sabbath. So after looking more into it and sort of seeing what other Christians do, we decided to give it a go, give like the real Sabbath a go. Basically, it's a day where you don't work, you don't do any cooking or cleaning. So if your work is inside the home, like myself as a mum and a wife, you don't do any like typical homemaking sort of jobs, and you spend that day in rest, either at home, you can fellowship with others, and you'd also be devoting that day to God in a way that works for you. You could be praying, worshipping, reading the Bible, all that sort of stuff. And it's more of that personal one-on-one time. You're not really doing so much good works, even though we try not to be too legalistic about it. And I think, if you read the Bible, you can see Jesus anything but legalistic. He did heal on the Sabbath, and that is a good work. So obviously he saw that that was more important on that day. And yeah, so we knew that we weren't really getting that. And for Sabbath, it's meant to be a full 24 hours as well. It's not just meant to be a little bit of rest here, a little bit of rest there. Yeah, so I'm going to talk you guys through how we, what we do and how we prepare for it, especially in this time of our lives where we do have small children. So we've chosen to do our Sabbath day on Saturday now. We've just started it this year, and this year my husband has started a new job as a pastor. So he now technically works on Sunday. His full day, it is a full day because he works in the morning service and the evening service, and he rarely comes home in between. So it is work for him, and I'm sort of preparing for the week anyway, so it just doesn't really work on a Sunday. So we now do our Sabbath on Saturday, and that way we can get a full 24 hours of rest and devotion time. How we prepare for it is I'm like always preparing. I'm always cleaning through the week and everything, so that come the end of the week, it's not like our house is a pigsty and have hours and hours of prep to do before Sabbath. Friday is our sort of prep day. My husband has Friday and Saturday off. That's his weekend, and his week starts on the Sunday. So his Friday, that's the first day off he has, that's sort of his day to work in the house. So he works 5 days out of the house, and then Friday is his day to work in the house. And he usually starts by taking our son to his swim lesson, our older son. I stay home with the baby so he can have a nap, and I start getting into some housework and things. And then, he might do some errands, go shopping. In the afternoon, he might do some yard work like mowing, trimming the trees, that sort of thing. And that's how he prepares. I'm a big foodie, so I like to make sure there's nice, yummy homemade food for Sabbath. So I do a lot of baking and prepping of food. So Sabbath for us starts Friday, so it's Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, sundown. That's our full 24 hours. So Friday, the full day until the sort of afternoon, I'm prepping, and I'll prepare the food. I'll put on a big load of laundry. I'll, clean the floors. I tidy up the house. I just sort of look around and see what do I want to get done before Sabbath, what is going to annoy me on Sabbath. I want to be able to have my full rest. I don't have to worry about anything or look over at something and be really annoyed because something's not clean. And I'm all into my cleanliness and organization. That's the type of person I am. And I relax when everything is organized and clean. So I do just go through the house on a Friday and just give it a full clean. And I feel like, you know, hearing that, you might think, oh my goodness, you must have so much to do on a Friday and then on a Sunday because you're doing nothing on Saturday. But it's not like that. Yeah, because I guess I'm cleaning up the house throughout the week. So come Friday, it's not like our house is really dirty. It actually doesn't take too long to prep. I think the biggest prep would probably be preparing all the food. I try to just chop up all the veggies and marinate the meats and things like that and put it in the fridge so that the next day all we have to do is put it into the oven or cook it on the stove, or maybe we're putting it in the slow cooker or whatever it is. But I'm not chopping veggies or anything like that on Sabbath. So just doing things that I can to prepare so that we can have the most restful Sabbath and we just don't have to worry about those other things. Even something like, you know, personal grooming sort of stuff. So washing my hair or shaving my legs, like I try to do that ahead of time so I don't have to worry about doing it on Sabbath. And it just gives me that more time with my family, more time to rest, and more time with God. All right, so now we have our actual Sabbath time. So that starts Friday sundown. Friday nights have always been family night for us. For maybe a good year now, we've been doing family nights and it's been really nice. Basically, we will have a fun dinner, which lately it's been pancakes and waffles, and that is really easy to prepare for. I do that ahead of time. I do that sometime during the day Friday. I prepare all the batters and I just use our bullet. So there's a few containers that come with our bullet machine and I just throw all the ingredients in, whiz it up, put it in the fridge, and then later on in the evening when we're ready to cook it, we can just pour it directly into the waffle machine and into the pan for our pancakes. My husband can cook it as well. It's really easy to just, yeah, to cook those. And I do these veggie waffles, veggie pancakes, and I blend the vegetable into the batter. So we end up with these really beautiful, colorful waffles and pancakes. So typically the mixes that we really like, we do spinach and banana pancakes, so they turn out bright green, and then pumpkin waffles, so they're quite, not so much orange, but more like a golden color, and they taste so good. And my son loves them. My 3-year-old, he will eat them up. He doesn't care what's in them. He knows there's vegetables in them when he eats them, which is great. But I've tried using beetroot before. It's come out really pink. And I've tried carrot, which has come out more orange. So yeah, I just throw in whatever we happen to have, blend it all up, and then we have a meal with vegetables in it, and it's sort of like a fun, different kind of meal. It's very casual as well, so it's not a sit-down meal at the table. We sort of, because those waffles and pancakes, you have to eat them as you cook them, otherwise they sort of go soggy and gross. So we hover about the kitchen, and my son will usually sit up at the bench on a stool or something, and we'll eat and do whatever family activity we're doing that night. Each night it's different. Each Friday night we might do a movie night, we might do games night where we might play a video game, like we have a Nintendo Switch, so we might play Mario Kart or sports, interactive sports where you play, like, you know, soccer or tennis or whatever it is. And that's the one where you actually get up and you're quite active, so that's really fun. Or we'll play a board game. My son has just started to get into board games, which is cool, and or a card game like Memory or Snap or something really simple. We've also done a fire outside in our fire pit, and that's really fun too. So we'll sort of do something like that along with the pancakes and waffles, and we sort of choose something that the whole family feels like doing at the time. If we're feeling really not up to doing much, we might just throw a movie on. But yeah, it depends on the weather and all that sort of stuff. So that's a really nice way to start it. The batters are all prepped, so we just sort of go along with it. We do baths for the boys at like 5 o'clock ahead of time, and then we get into doing the dinner and the activity. So we can still put them down in a reasonable time. Usually 7 is bedtime, but on a Friday night we let it stretch out to 7:30, even 8 o'clock sometimes, depending on what we're doing and how everyone's coping. We sort of have to play it by ear with children, of course. So that's how we start, and then, you know, eventually they go to bed, and I sort of do a quick wash up of the containers, and that's about it. And then Saturday rolls around. So Saturday we have no alarms on. We wake up naturally whenever we wake up, usually with the kids whenever they wake up, they're our alarms. But we're very blessed to not have children who wake up at 5 a.m. They usually do not wake up before 6:30. And because they've stayed up, they usually will sleep in a fair bit longer. So there might be 7, 7:30, even 8 o'clock sometimes they've slept into. Yeah, so we just sort of wake up with them. It's a very slow morning. We just do whatever for breakfast, and we're not rushing to get out of the house. We're not rushing to get ready. So we might start getting ready and doing something, and then we end up stopping and playing with the kids or reading a book or whatever. There's not the, oh, we got to get ready. I can't play with you right now. We don't do any of that. We will actually, if our son wants us to play with him, we will just sit down and play. We're just real casual on a Saturday morning. And then usually each Sabbath is sort of different, but a lot of the time we like to get out of the house in the morning if the weather is nice. Children just have the most energy in the morning, so it's a good way to get out their energy. Plus it's usually a bit cooler in the morning, and it's been summer here, so it's been nice to get out then. And we like to get out in nature and just do something active. That's how we prefer to do it, and everyone's going to be different. Some people might not find that restful at all, but we will go on like a bike ride or a hike or something, or we'll go out to a park, something that, and not like an overstimulating park either. I think there's some parks that are just like crazy because there's so many options and they're really full on and popular. We try to go somewhere that's not too crazy. We avoid like shopping centers and things like that on a Saturday. We just want peace and relaxation. So that's why we like to, like, just going on a hike or something, or going up the rail trail is just really nice. So we do that, and then, you know, I might bring some snacks out, or we'll do like a picnic or something. We might go out for lunch, or we'll get lunch on the way home. We're very casual at lunchtime. It might be like picking up some sushi or some sandwiches, or we'll just make some toasted sandwiches or something at home. Or if we're going, there was one Sabbath where we went to someone else's house for dinner that night. So we had our like special Sabbath feast with our own family just here at home at lunchtime. Usually we do it at dinner, but because we were going out for dinner, we decided to do that at lunchtime, and that was really nice. So then after lunch, we do our quiet time, and we do, I think throughout the week, usually we would do about 1 hour quiet time. I do with the boys whilst my baby has a nap and my son has quiet time. And that's the time where I can sort of do a few things by myself, a bit of housework, things that are harder to do with the kids. But on a Saturday, I don't do anything, and I actually rest as well, and I have quiet time, which is so nice. And we do it for like a full 2 hours, which is wonderful. My son will have his quiet time. I usually take the baby in, if he hasn't gone down in the cot, if I haven't already put him in there and he's crying for a nap, I usually just take him straight into my room and just lay down with him. That way I can like fall asleep when he falls asleep, if I want to have a nap, or I just lay there. I'm not a huge napper, so a lot of the time I don't nap, but even just laying there and just thinking my own thoughts and just relaxing and not doing anything, that is really nice. Just having a physical rest, just laying down, maybe just for 30 minutes, can be really refreshing. Once I've sort of gotten over that, or I've had a nap and woken up, I'll usually get up and make myself a tea and go outside, and I'll read a good book, or I'll take the Bible out there and read that, depending on what I'm feeling like. And my son will eventually join me when he's sort of over his quiet time, and he'll sort of play a bit, and I might end up playing with him or kicking a ball with him or something like that. And then quiet time is sort of wrapping up. The baby is usually starting to wake around that time anyway. He wouldn't, a lot of the time now, he doesn't usually sleep more than 2 hours anyway. So yeah, but by the end I feel so refreshed, because I never ever do that. And that is really nice as a mum to actually enjoy quiet time and have a rest at the same time. And then after that, the afternoon is sort of, it's different every time. We might just hang out outside, do an afternoon tea picnic outside. We might a lot of time actually we throw on some worship music and do some worship, and my husband might get out his guitar or jump on the drums and do some music with our son. Sometimes we had a Sabbath where we had started a board game the night before, but didn't get to finish it. And the next day my son kept asking us to play, so we said, yeah, we'll do it in the afternoon, and we ended up doing that, and it was really fun. I think we played it for a good hour and he did not lose any concentration, which is pretty amazing. So that was a good afternoon spent. If we haven't done anything physical, we might go out on a bike ride in the afternoon or something like that. Yeah, it's just different every time, or we'll just hang out with the boys, read some books to them, play, and just chill out. We might have people over and hang out, and then we go into like the evening time and we'll do our like big Sabbath feast and that is like a special dinner. It's just we try to make it special and just like a little bit different to our classic dinners through the week. So it is a sit down meal. We do juice for our son, and we'll do like apple juice or grape juice or something, and my husband and I will, depending on whatever drink we have, we'll get out some nice wine glasses and put the drink into that. And we have these plastic wine glasses that my son will have his juice in, so it's very cute. And yeah, I'll do something special that's homemade. Like I might do some fresh bread with our meal, or the other week I made my own homemade pasta, and that was really cool. If you haven't already made that before in your foodie, you should totally look at it. It is very easy. It's just eggs, water, flour, and you just roll it out with the rolling pin and then cut it into whatever shape you're doing, and then you just boil it. It's super quick and it's delicious. Yeah, so I did that and that was a hit. Or I might make like a really nice dessert, like an apple crumble or something homemade. And yeah, and then, you know, we might we'll usually read the Bible later on at bedtime, and we'll have worship playing in the evening as well, and it's just really nice. So the whole day, it's just like, obviously we're still parents and we still have children, so we still have to look after them and whatnot, but we're not doing your typical housework through the day that you usually would on any other day. There's no laundry, there's no, like, I wouldn't do the vacuuming or anything like that. Yeah, so it ends up being a very peaceful day. So the no cooking, no cleaning sort of rule, as I said before, we try not to be too legalistic about it. I don't do a load of laundry. I do a load of laundry every single other day, but I don't do it on Sabbath. I'm definitely someone who is, you know, a load a day keeps the pile away. Even a small load, I just chuck it on. But Sabbath, I don't do anything. And then so Sunday, I just do a slightly bigger load. It's really not a big deal. But if, you know, if we need to do one, like my son, if he wets the bed overnight, and I'm not going to leave the sheets till Sunday because it's Sabbath, I will wash the sheets. But yeah, I won't do any, you know, I won't do vacuuming, dusting, cleaning the bathrooms, or any of those sort of bigger chores. But we do try to keep the house the same, or we try to maintain the cleanliness of it. So when we don't, you know, just get undressed and throw our clothes on the floor and then eat food and just leave everything on the table and crumbs on the floor, and then there's just like a pigsty for the next day. We just clean up as we go. I will always unpack the dishwasher and, you know, pack it throughout the day, and we can just put our dishes straight into it, and then I put it on in the evening. So that's a really great way to get rid of dishes. And if there's a couple of other things that aren't dishwasher safe, I'll just leave them for the next day, or if they seem like they need to be washed, I'll just quickly wash them. But it's definitely a lot less because I'm not, you know, preparing food that day. As I said, I do prepare the food the day before, but I do cook it on Sabbath, but I've already prepared it, so it's literally just putting it into the oven or whatever I'm doing with it. And yeah, that's really quick and easy. I also try to make the beds. I like a nice made bed because it just makes the whole room look all made up, and just like we get ready for the day, I like to get our room ready for the day. So that's another thing that I do. But apart from that, we don't really do any other cleaning, which is nice. So throughout the day, it's never like, oh, I've got to get this done, or, you know, we can't be here for too long, we've got to move on to the next thing. You know, if we're out in the park, we're usually there for a few hours just because we don't have to rush home. The only thing we have to be mindful of is, you know, our children and the fact that they will need a rest and they'll need food. That's it. So it is very relaxing not having to worry about anything, and you know, as a Christian, spending that time with God and actually sitting down and having time to read the Bible, not just like, oh, I only have this amount of time and that's it. It's I have as long as I want and I can read what I want. It's great. Yeah, so ever since we've started doing it, I've been so grateful that we've sort of looked into it more, and it's definitely something that, you know, God has designed us, right? So he knows exactly what we need, and he has instructed us to keep the Sabbath day, keep it holy and whatnot. And if, you know, for us, just doing it on like a Sunday at church, that just wasn't really working. We weren't having a restful day. Now that my husband's actually working on a Sunday, a full day, and he's not even really with us. We just see him at church here and there. Yeah, it's not really a proper Sabbath day that we can spend together as a family. So since we've changed it, it has been amazing, and I love it. And it, as I said, we're not going to be legalistic about it. You know, there are times when we might be invited to something and we'll be traveling to that, but whatever happens, and on our Saturdays, I guess we will try to make it our Sabbath day still, and we'll still try to make it as restful as possible. The other thing I didn't mention was that my son, my 3-year-old, he absolutely loves that we have Sabbath now. He often asks, is today Sabbath? Because he knows what Sabbath is now, and he knows that on Sabbath he gets a lot more attention, and we're not busy doing things in the background all the time and just sort of watching him here and there, and, you know, not really able to engage too much and play with him. Sabbath, he knows that we do fun things together as a family, and it's like huge family time. And yeah, he, you know, we can play with him, we can read books with him and all that sort of stuff. And he can feel the difference. I can already tell, and I can already see it, that he absolutely loves it. So yeah, if I feel like, yeah, that's something, if you already see Sunday as your Sabbath day, but you're feeling like it is so busy and full on rushing around with kids and trying to get to church and volunteering, and they're preparing lunches and stuff for the week, I would definitely look into doing it another day, still having church and everything, but, you know, looking at your actual restful Sabbath day some other day. For us, Saturday works really well. But yeah, that's it. That's why we started it, how we prepare, what we do for Sabbath, and how it's impacted us as a family. And if you do Sabbath, and you do different things, whatever you do with your family, please write them down in the comments below. I'd like to hear what other people are doing for Sabbath, just give me ideas. But yeah, that's about it. So if you like this video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more of my content, make sure you hit subscribe, and then you will see my next video. I've been doing videos roughly every fortnight now, so they're a bit more regular than I used to do them. Thank you so much for watching.